Happy Friday, everyone. It is newsletter time. I believe today will be newsletter number 176. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody out there that wished Vicki and I a happy 35th anniversary 3 days ago. And then yesterday was my birthday, and I was just inundated with hundreds and hundreds of well-wishers that left comments and likes and all that. Thank you so much, guys. It just kind of blew me away, the response, and how many people out there really are caring about us and what we do. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I was really touched, so thank you very much. All right, so enough of that. Let's get into this. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to do another review on a different kind of wood that I've never carved before. And I literally haven't carved this ever that I can remember. In fact, I've never even heard of it. This comes from Leroy Severson. Sent down last year sometime. His buddies Bruce and Marty stopped by. They were down in this area, and they're all from the Pacific Northwest, and they brought this this material that has been sitting here, and Leroy actually made this into a planter box. So what it is, in essence, it's 5 pieces, and they're all engineered and mitered with the angles and everything. So they make a planter box. You can kind of see. Can you kind of see what I'm doing there, Dad? I won't put the 4th one because I'll put the whole thing together. But what I'm going to do today is I'm going to carve one of these panels and see how this stuff cuts.
What wood is it?
It is Port. I got to look at it again. Port Orford Cedar, P-O-R-T, and then the word Orford.
That's from Port Orford, Washington, probably.
Oh, is that a town
in Washington? Yeah, there's a town in Washington called Port Orford.
Well, there you go. Then it makes sense, because I was thinking, I didn't know why it was called that. But you can see it's really a soft grain. It's got little tiny, in places, little wormholes. But that shouldn't matter. That's the reason I got the tape here. Before I spray it, I'll probably make sure that I don't spray any ink in any wormholes. But anyway, so on a future episode, you'll see this all put together. I'm going to carve it today, carve one of the panels today. But I think this is going to be for Vicki, and I think she wants me to carve all 4 sides. However, I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to carve one of the sides. So I'm going to move this stuff out of the way, and then this is the bottom. He actually engineered the bottom to set inside there. Did a lot of work on these pieces here. So I'm going to set these aside for right now. So like I say, on a future episode, you'll see this thing all put together, finished up and everything. But today I'm going to carve it. So what I've got here is one of the panels. Now, what I told Vic, what do you want carved in it? This is what she came up with. So this is the pattern. Well, let me hold it up that way. That's the pattern I'm going to carve in there. This is just something Vicki found on the internet. You guys know we have a laser. So she just sized it the size that she wanted, and that's what I'm going to spray and carve in this cedar today, if everything goes right. If it doesn't go right, you'll never see this, because I'll scrap the whole video. But we'll hope for the best. So what I've done here, and if you look at this, and I know you're on it right now, aren't you, Dad?
Yes.
What I've done here, in order to get this in the center of this piece, number one, make sure I have the outside, which the miter is on the inside, so I know I'm on the outside of the piece there. There's a little bit more room on this edge than there is on this edge. So when I'm balancing this thing side to side, I want to make sure, and the same thing with the bottom, there's a lot more meat here than there is here. So what I ended up doing, I think it was like 1 3/8 from the top edge, and 1 3/8 from the bottom, if I remember right. Yep. And what I did was I got that thing centered top to bottom, and then I drew a line just with a pencil so that when I go to set that thing on the board, I know that with that bottom edge sitting on that line, I'm centered top to bottom. But I didn't measure I didn't measure, to the edge of here. I measured to the edge of the actual pattern, which is 1 3/8, and the edge of the pattern here is 1 3/8.
That's the edge of the design, rather
Of the
than
design, correct,
Yeah.
correct. That's what I meant to say. All right, so I know it's good top to bottom. Now from the sides, I'm just going to measure. I think it ends up being about 2 inches. Yeah, about 2 inches straight out from the side of that little pedal there. Pretty close. There we go. So now we know it's pretty much centered. Now what I am going to do is I'm just going to throw some tape over those little holes. I just don't want any ink in those holes. I don't see any issue with wormholes there. So I'm just going to spray that real quick. This is the Marsh ink that we use. Or we could be using the Rust-Oleum primer that we use. I just happen to grab the ink instead. Now, if you guys were doing this, if you don't have a laser, and I'm sure most of you don't, or if you don't have a vinyl cutter that you can cut vinyl and put it on there, you could always just do this with paper and then cut straight through the paper. So that's how that
that's
little pattern
good. Yeah.
came out.
We got a good. You want me to zoom in on that?
No, I don't think you need to.
No, I don't need to. No, it shows up good.
Yeah, what happens is if you zoom in too much with a camera, it kind of gets fuzzy on you. So I think, I think that.
I can't stand a fuzzy camera.
Yeah. All right, so now let me move this paper out of the way. I just had that paper there so I didn't spray my bench. This thing will be probably as dry already. So what I'm going to use to carve that, to route it, is the SC50. That's one of our bits that we use for real fine detail. Cuts a little bit finer than our profile bit, but it won't cut as deep. So being as we've got some really tight lines, I'm just going to use. Always hold on to your router when you plug it in, guys, in case of switch. It's something Dad taught me years ago. Don't ever plug a power tool in with it just sitting on the bench. Hold on to it, make sure, just in case the switch goes on. There's a little safety thing that I learned when I was 9, 10 years old. All right, so, so we're using the SC50. You probably see that.
You want me to
And
zoom in on that?
most of you that watch us very often know what this bit is. Again, the characteristics of this bit is it's super great for fine detail, but it can't go very deep. If you try to go too deep on it, that tip will just break right off on you. So don't do that. So we're doing okay on time there, Dad?
Oh yeah, we got lots of time.
We are recording, correct?
We are recording.
That's good. Just in case, thought I'd ask. Let me take a drink of water.
From your purple Bubba cup.
I got a new pink Bubba cup.
That's
See?
purple.
Is it purple? Okay. Well, even if it was pink, I'm secure in my manhood. Pink is okay. I like pink. It's all right. All right. Let's route. Let's get after this. So, we have quite a bit of detail in here we're going to do. Now what I really am going to do on these two down here, I normally would, everything that's black would be gone that I'm going to cut out. But on these two little things here, they almost look like little ladybugs or something. So I'm just going to make those silhouettes. So I'm going to do those first because I want to put little dots in them. And you'll see in a second here what I'm talking about. Here we go.
You want to move that cord around in the
Oh yeah. Good job, Brad. Huh.
So how does that quart over from Cedar, how does it carve?
It carved really nice. So let me tell you what my first impressions of this stuff is. First of all, it carves like butter. Carves really, really nice. And one of the things that Leroy said is that it has a smell to it like that you've never experienced before. And I would have to agree with that. That has an aroma to it that is really cool. Can you smell it, Dad?
Yeah.
And even with the little tiny bit that I'm cutting out there, it's got a really cool aroma to it.
Yeah, it's a sweet cedar.
It's a cedar smell, but it's softer. It's a softer aroma than the normal cedar fencing that I cut. I really, really like it. I'm having fun with this stuff. I like it. All right.
You're unusually quiet today. You're not making any comments.
Well, some people have mentioned that when you talk while the router is running, they're finding it really difficult to understand. So I'm not talking too much while the router is running. But that being said, I'm going to shut the router off.
That's nice when you lift it up like that. You get a little bit better picture of what you've done.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, guys, being as there's a lot of detail here, I pretty much did one half here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish the rest of this off camera, just like I did over here. Then I'm going to switch router bits and come back with my profile bit, and all of this stuff inside these little places that are black, I'm going to get in there with my profile bit because I like the way it will cut and take those out a little bit better. Rather than trying to go too deep with that SC50. So, again, my impression so far, this stuff is super soft. There's a couple places where it tried to chip on me a little bit, but it wasn't bad. There's not a hard grain to it at all. Carves really, really nice. And again, the aroma is really pleasant. I love the aroma. So, I think we're going to go ahead and shut the camera off, and I'm going to go ahead and finish this off camera. Then when we come back on, I'll have a profile bit, and we'll take out the rest of that black stuff. So we'll be right back. Okay, so this is our profile bit. I've changed bits from the SC50 over to our profile bit, and I've duplicated the routing on the left side, or your right side, and you can see kind of what that looks like. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in, and you'll notice in the center I did something a little bit different, kind of to match these, is I just did a circle and then I just did a bunch of little dots in there.
You want to hold that up and
yeah.
turn it around? I'll zoom in on it and they can see it.
Yeah, you can see where I just decided rather than take it all out like I'm going to do on these, I just made it a circle and just put a series of dots in there. Make it look like a little sunflower or something. Just wanted it. I didn't want that all just cut out. The same as these here.
Okay.
Okay?
Got it.
Alright, so now I'll probably have to set the depth because I think this might be a little bit deep, but let's find out. So now I'm just going to go in and I'm going to take out all that black stuff. It's all right. So let's talk about this a little bit. For those of you that may be new to the channel, which we have a lot of, and we really appreciate you coming by, and please subscribe and share our videos and like and all that. But for those of you that are new to it, when I get into little tight places like that, you might notice that I kind of raise my router a little bit. If I went in full depth there and moved all the way to the places where it was really thin, I would be hitting the side and the edges. So you'll notice that I kind of start at the skinny spot and then I move down to full depth and then come around and wipe that stuff out and then come back out.
By doing that, because of the angle on the router bit, it gives you a thinner line, right?
That's exactly right. You can see that this is a V-groove. It's not a conventional V-groove bit, but it's still a V-groove. It's at what, like a 15-degree angle?
15-degree on the side. Down to a 45.
Although this one has been sharpened, like it really is not that angle anymore. This one has been sharpened probably 10, 15, 20 times maybe. So the angle is not that same as what it started at.
But it's still basically the same.
It's still basically the same and cuts really good.
And you do the same even if it was a brand new profile bit.
Yeah.
You still make the same movements.
That's exactly right. So let me brush that real well. And actually behind you, Dad, I think there's that carving tool, that hand carving tool on that. There's some little tiny spots in here that I really need to kind of get out that the brush isn't doing. And I don't want anything in there that could be come up as a white spot after I sand, or even worse, come loose back in there, because it'll all be black back in there. And so I want to make sure absolutely that I get all of the loose stuff out of there. So I just use a stiff bristle brush. I've been using this one for about, I don't know, 5 years now. So typically the tools that you need to do what we're doing, you can get by with not having any big fancy tools.
And what you're doing right there, you could do with a pocket knife.
You could, yep. Or or even an old profile bit.
Or a little X-Acto tool, X-Acto knife.
Yeah, you
don't have to. You don't have to spend a lot of money to get the tools to do what you need to do.
You just don't. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so let's spray this thing because it looks one more little piece in there. It looks pretty good. Let's spray this. Put my paper back down. We'll spray it. Then we'll let it dry, which won't take long. Now this stuff, I have no idea whether it has a tendency to bleed or not. That's one of the reasons I'm using the ink, because if anything, the ink over the primer. And now I want to make sure I take those holes off again. And there's a few more holes, because I don't want my ink to go down in those little wormholes. Not that it would be that big a deal, because they're kind of dark down inside there anyway, but yeah, I think I got them all. Anyway, I have no idea. I'm going to be really careful with this ink and not get it on there too heavy, because I don't know whether this cedar has a tendency to bleed. And by bleed, that's our term for it's soaking into the wood to the point where you can't sand it out.
Yeah, it just soaks into the grain and it stays there. When you sand it off, since it's down in the grain, you can't get it out.
All right.
That's what we call bleeding.
That's our term for bleeding. All right, guys, we're going to let that set for about 5 minutes. We'll come back and we'll sand it off and see what she looks like. We'll be right back. Okay, guys, so we are set up with the sanding board. This is my old junky old sanding board, but it's still working. So I got it clamped down to the table so it won't move around. And I'm going to sand with the grain, and I'm going to take these pieces of tape off here because I'm done spraying. So I don't have any reason to leave those on there. Now I'm not going to use, like I normally use on my signs, I'm not going to use a rough belt on this. Well, not the 40 or 50 grit that I normally would use. I'm just going to go with my 80 grit and sand it off, and because I want to keep it fairly smooth, but I'm going to just sand with the grain. So I'm going to use a little armadillo here, and we're going to sand it off, see what she looks like. Want the trowel on me. Now let's blow it off and see if we got it all. That's good news, guys. I don't see not one sign of any bleeding there at all. So that's another, definitely another plus on this Port Orford Cedar, is I don't see any bleeding of the ink into the grain. Sanded really, really well. I probably will go back even with my palm sander and sand it down even smoother. But that'll give you kind of an idea. So 2 thumbs up for this cedar. I really like it. I really do. I don't know what I'd have to probably. I don't know if Washington is the only place that'll have it.
Yeah, we'd have to go up there with a truck and buy a truckload of it.
And I have no idea what it costs. I just don't know. And I really don't know what it's going to look like with a finish on it yet either, because I'm not going to finish it until the box is complete. And Vicki wants this pattern on all 4 sides. So I'm going to do all 4 sides and put the box together, and then I'll put a finish on it. But I have a hunch it'll look really nice with a finish on it. So anyway, guys, that's it for this week. Hope this was helpful. Again, this is a little Porter cable. We call it the Armadillo. Neat little sander. The more I use this thing, the more I like it. I really love that little sander. Thanks again for...
What's the model on that Porter cable?
It's a Porter cable, but the model number is on here. It is a 371.
Okay.
2.5 by 14. Compact belt sander. Really neat little sander. And this belt, by the way, is the original belt. And I've sanded probably, gosh, at least 20 or 30 signs with this belt alone. I've got a bunch more belts, but this is still the original belt. I'm really impressed with that little sander. Anyway, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope this was helpful to you. Questions, comments, let me know. We are going to, we'll have tomorrow morning, we'll have, and by the way, sorry we're late on this. This is going to be posted like way late Saturday night. It's Saturday evening already, so things have been kind of crazy around here. But anyway, we will get it posted on Saturday, but on Friday. But did I say Saturday? Yeah, it's Friday. I get my days mixed up. It's Friday right now, but you guys probably won't see it till Saturday morning. But you'll also be seeing Dad's memory walk down memory lane. I guess that's kind of what we're calling it. But anyway, guys, thanks for stopping by. Welcome to all you new subscribers. Anything we can do for you, let us know. You know how to get a hold of us. My email will be on the screen. Questions, comments, thumbs up if you like the video. We really appreciate it, and we'll keep putting out good stuff for you. So we'll see you tomorrow morning on Dad's Memory, and then Coffee and Questions back on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.